At Crimson Lights, Audra complains to Sally that Nate called her a liar and believed Claire. Sally's sorry. She learns Nate was suspicious about Audra's deal with Victor and accused her of not giving him straight answers. Sally points out Audra wasn't completely honest with him. Audra doesn't want to hear, "I told you so." Sally suggests Audra come clean with Nate so he understands why she did it. Audra argues he'll never understand. That's why she walked out. She's afraid there is no turning back. They debate, and Audra complains about how quick her boyfriend was to blame her. She was sure they could withstand the blowback even if he found out. Sally sees both sides. Audra hopes Nate will come around after she gives him some space. She'd hate to lose him. Turning the subject to her launch party, Sally vows that everyone will be talking about Abbott Chancellor. Audra's irked that they're still calling it Abbott Communications, given that Kyle Abbott would love to publicly crucify her. Why would they let her be COO of their company? Sally argues, "You're working for me." She vows to run interference. Audra's not convinced the Abbotts won't be a problem. At Society, Nate updates Devin and Lily that he and Audra are done. Lily and Devin admit that something was off with her and Kyle in France. Lily doesn't know what's worse, her cheating on him or pretending to for money. Nate tells her about the kiss back here in Genoa City. Devin thinks Nate's ex is still trying to get back in good with Victor. He hopes his cousin won't let her off the hook. Devin and Lily continue to crab about Audra's deal with the devil and warn Nate not to give her another opportunity to betray him. Nate argues that Kyle may have made this whole story up. His cousins force him to admit he believes Claire's version of events. Lily states the obvious by saying she never trusted Audra. Devin, paragon of virtue, echoes that sentiment. Nate gets it and admits he may have overlooked some red flags, like her history with Holden and her insistence that he not go to Nice with her. It looks like they were both right about Audra all along. They all express their love. In the park, Nick happens upon Phyllis ranting into Kane's voicemail about dropping a bomb on her. When Phyllis disconnects, Nick asks what's going on with Kane. What's he done now? Phyllis tries to dodge the question, so Nick lectures that getting mixed up with Kane was risky business. He guesses things didn't work out. Phyllis, irritated, denies that. But Nick tries convincing her that he cares and wants to help her. Nick gripes that she should have turned to him, not Kane. Phyllis scoffs at the idea of working at Newman Enterprises. Nick can still help her. Phyllis informs him he can't match what Kane was offering. He fishes about his plan, but Phyllis zips her lips. Nick needles that Kane's already waving the white flag and surrendering. Phyllis becomes agitated as Nick badgers her about what's happened with Kane. Phyllis vows she'll salvage things. Billy's surprised when Kane stops by his place and remarks on his decor. Billy wants to get to the reason for his visit. Kane asks where his loyalties lie. Billy bristles and they spar verbally as he tells Kane that Phyllis told him he was out. Kane chuckles and relays that he's not moving forward with his original intentions. Billy doesn't buy it. Kane insists his decision is on the level. Newman, Jabot, and Chancellor are all safe. He's not up to the battle anymore. Billy guesses something dramatic happened. Kane explains he alienated his kids. It's time to focus on repairing that. Billy wishes him luck. He asks if this means Chancellor is fair game. Kane nods. It's yours for the taking. Billy invites Kane to share his strategy to getting Chancellor, but Kane doesn't want to deprive him of the chance to figure it out for himself. He admits he was doing it for Lily. They chuckle over Kane dumping Phyllis, but then Billy warns, "You have no idea what you've just done to yourself." Next, Billy decides he still doesn't trust Kane. His not brother insists he's telling the truth and wishes Billy luck. On his way out, Sally appears and frowns. Sally asks Billy what that was all about. Billy snarks, "That's a good question." She hopes Kane didn't find out Billy's having him followed. Billy explains that Ashby told him Chancellor's up for grabs since he's dropping his plans. He worries he's trying to divert attention to him so the Newmans won't see him coming. Sally says if they can figure out what's he up to, Abbott Communications can break the story. Billy narrows his eyes. Kane may be trying to knock him off balance, but why? At Society, Lily takes a call from Kane, who wants to know if she had a chance to watch his video. Lily snips that she's been busy. He hopes she'll give it a look. She warns this will take time, for all of them. Kane announces this has changed his perspective. She lets him go. After, Devin and Nate remark on Lily's abrupt departure as Audra walks in and grabs her takeout. She shoots them a stormy look and leaves without a word. Still at the park, Phyllis tells Nick that Kane just needs time to get back on track, given his family's exposé painted him in a dark light to his kids. Nick says Kane made his bed. He thinks she should cut and run, since Ashby can't be trusted. Phyllis recalls that Nick wanted to create an alliance with him mere days ago. Phyllis tells Nick to walk away, but he rants about her putting all her eggs in Kane's basket when he's bailing on her. Phyllis insists she knows what she's doing. "We're partners, you got that?" Nick rolls his eyes at her and Ashby being kindred spirits. Nick's concerned that she's planning to go after people's companies. He begs her to rethink this. She muses, "I already have. I've got this. Back off." Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, August 28th, reveal that Kyle Abbott will face Claire Newman's Audra Charles question, while Victoria Newman frets over some daughter drama. For starters, Claire will wrestle with more doubts when it comes to what happened between Audra and Kyle. That's why Claire will ask Kyle if there's anything he hasn't told her about what went down in Nice. Of course, Kyle is indeed hiding some things about what played out behind closed doors. Claire wouldn't be pleased if she knew Kyle was wearing only a towel and that he made out with Audra as part of his trap. Kyle downplayed that makeout session as one kiss when he opened up to Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott. There's a chance Kyle will stick with that story and spill the one kiss to Claire without giving all the facts. However, it's also possible Harrison Abbott will come running in and interrupt this conversation since his homecoming is set to happen soon. Whatever the case, Kyle will make a surprising move in Thursday's Y&R episode. Fans will see Kyle do something daring, so he may pull out all the stops to make sure Claire knows how important she is to him. In the meantime, Victoria will deal with some anxiety when it comes to Claire's next chapter. Although Victoria will want to believe Claire and Kyle have a bright future, she may fear things are going to fall apart and shatter Claire's heart in the process. While Victoria mulls over her daughter's drama-filled love life, Victor Newman will be busy pushing Jack Abbott's buttons. Jack will get under Victor's skin as well, so they'll have a showdown regarding their families and the fierce fight between them. The rivalry between the Newmans and Abbotts tends to lead to terrible news, so stay tuned for updates on what's in store. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor and Jack will stand their ground in the feud that's escalating, at least for now. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Nick Newman and Sienna Bacall may find love. Will Sharon Newman lose to Tamara Braun's new character once autumn rolls around? Viewers will recall Sharon was stuck pining for Nick until he finally kissed her following all the danger in Nice. It was a huge deal for Sharon, but Nick's been acting way too casual about it ever since they got back home. Nick, honestly, still doesn't seem that into Sharon as more than a friend. A train lip lock and another almost kiss at the coffee house aren't enough to make Nick look like he's falling madly in love again. Of course, Nick and Sharon will always have a special connection due to their children and the rich history they share. No one can take that away from Sharon and Nick, but she may not be able to keep Nick's attention, especially once a mysterious and lovely lady struts into town. Tamara Braun has joined the cast of Y&R as Sienna Bacall, a new character who will first appear this fall. It's never too early to start thinking about who Sienna will be paired up with once she hits Genoa City. Based on Braun's age range and the fact that Nick's being so non-committal about Sharon, Sienna might fall hard for the handsome Newman down the road. It might be fun to see Nick in a fresh pairing since the show never seems to go all in on Sharon and Nick anymore. If Y&R isn't going to deliver a proper Nick and Sharon reunion, then maybe they should just move on with other people. Sharon might have an opportunity to fall for someone else as well if Sienna swoops in and steals Nick's heart. Whatever the case, Braun will make her autumn debut as Sienna Bacall, so we'll bring you updates on any love interest news that might be in the works. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nick could have some romantic twists in his future. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, August 28, 2025, have Victor and Jack trading barbs over family matters, Kyle making a bold move, and Victoria worrying about Claire's future. Victor Newman and Jack Abbott have in common a love of family, a strong business sense, and are pillars in Genoa City. They also have something else in common. They spar whenever they run into each other. On Thursday's show, watch for that dynamic to play out when the two moguls encounter each other. Victor may have agreed to hold off on attacking Kyle, Jack's son, who is dating Victor's granddaughter, Claire. However, that doesn't mean that Victor and Jack won't stand their ground with one another in a battle of wits. Kyle stood up to Victor in France, and he has done everything he can to keep Claire in the loop about Audra and her machinations. He hasn't fully shared with her that he needed to let Audra think her scheme in Nice was working. On Thursday's show, watch for Kyle to make a bold move. Will he let Claire know that he got shirtless and a bit intimate with Audra in France? He had to let Audra believe she had the upper hand. But will Claire understand that Kyle did what he needed to do? Or will she feel betrayed on some level? Speaking of Claire, we've seen her take matters into her own hands by telling Nate that he needed to be aware that his girlfriend is deceptive. But will that be enough? Is Claire going to revert to her wicked ways and drop a bigger anvil on Audra for trying to break up her and Kyle? On Thursday's show, watch for Victoria, Claire's mother, to grow concerned about her daughter's future. Vicky has seen her father take action over the years against his enemies. It doesn't necessarily guarantee satisfaction. Victoria may want to keep her child from taking action that will ultimately make her very unhappy in life. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of September 5 reveal that some launch party chaos may erupt while Phyllis Summers carries out an emergency mission. Kane Ashby may also prove to be a bit of a wild card, so here's what Y&R fans can expect. For starters, Sally Spectra is gearing up for a retro-themed Abbott Communications launch party and is hoping everything goes off without a hitch. However, soapy events like this one always come with the risk of catastrophe. Sally's decision to hire Audra Charles could lead to backlash and stir up some Abbott family drama. If Kyle Abbott ends up attending this party, that could lead to him facing off with Audra and creating quite a scene. Kyle and Claire Newman's future could be in jeopardy thanks to secrets that he's kept and all the Audra mayhem that just won't stop. Over with Phyllis, she'll put herself in charge of an emergency mission and work to change Kane's mind about all his takeover plans. Phyllis will do whatever it takes to pull Kane out of the funk he's in and convince him that he has to keep fighting for Genoa City domination. Of course, Phyllis may decide she could use some backup. If that's the case, Phyllis might recruit Amanda Sinclair for help since she'll be back in town to help handle a crisis for Kane. That crisis may involve Victor Newman's blackmail threat and Kane's attempt to deal with it. Kane won't want to be under Victor's control and may count on Amanda to wiggle him out of the extortion jam he's stuck in. As for Jack Abbott, he'll do some strategizing after Billy Abbott updates him. Billy is suspicious about Kane suddenly ditching his grand takeover scheme, so Jack may be just as wary and agree they need to stay on guard. Since Sally sees the potential for a big media story involving Kane's true agenda, she may help Billy investigate in the coming episodes. Kane could prove to be a wild card if he has another change of heart, or this is all another manipulative power play. Plus, with Phyllis pressuring Kane to embrace his sinister side, he could head back down that road eventually. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the week of September 5th will bring some surprising news and unraveling mysteries, so stay tuned. Kane had been promising since he returned to The Young and the Restless back in June that all would be revealed. Viewers on Tuesday's episode about Kane's final moments with his dying father, Colin, and how that informed who Kane was and why he revealed himself to Lily and his other party guests. In a series of emotional scenes, Kane reflected on his time away from Genoa City. While sitting in his train car, he created a self-recording in which he confessed to his children, Charlie and Maddie, his deep love for them. Kane explained why he has behaved the way he did for years. He hoped that someday his kids could accept him. Kane wants more than Maddie and Charlie back in his life. He wants Lily back too, Kane has made that clear since the beginning. Lily, however, is carrying around too much pain to let Kane hurt her again. She had moved on and was in the process of falling for Damien until a well-intentioned but psychotic Carter murdered him. Losing Damien and having bad memories stirred up gave Lily all the ammunition she needed to convince herself that Kane was to be avoided at all costs. Kane went ahead and texted his video to Maddie and Charlie. They're not the only two who could be swayed by Kane's words. Lily was also part of the group chat to which Kane's heartfelt video was sent. If she watches it, she might be swayed to realize that there is a vulnerable side to Kane. It wasn't always bad between Kane and Lily. The two went through many travails together. They survived her cancer, and they enlisted their friend Mackenzie to act as Charlie and Maddie's surrogate so that the twins could be brought into the world. Lily may decide to give Kane another chance so that she can make sure he doesn't go after her friends and family on a financial level. Victor asked Lily to use Kane's feelings for her against him, but Lily just may have some buried feelings for Kane as well. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the next 3 weeks, August 25th to September 12th, divulge that Genoa City is hopping with action as fall sits just around the corner. For starters, a little wedding planning gets underway, while Phyllis Summers prepares to go to war. Elsewhere, Lily Winters struggles with her complicated feelings about Kane Ashby. During the week of August 25th to 29, Lily grills Holden Novak, but comes up empty on Kane's intentions in Genoa City. At the same time, Lily tells Kane she is not interested in a reunion, all the while having secret feelings for him. Victor Newman comes at Kane with a different angle, trying to blackmail him into an alliance to take down Jabot. Victor is smug, but Kane has Amanda Sinclair investigate Victor's claims, and she never comes up empty-handed. Meanwhile, Victoria Newman worries about Claire Newman's relationship with Kyle Abbott. Claire keeps pushing to discover what happened between Kyle and Audra Charles in France, and this can't end well. Thus far, Kyle has lied by omission. He told his parents, Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott, that he and Audra had one kiss and nothing more. But the Playboy was half naked in Audra's bed, making out like there was no tomorrow. How will Claire learn the truth, and will it send her running into Holden's arms? Nate Hastings has figured out what happened and walked away from Audra. Will he come groveling back and say he's sorry to the lying liar of the lies? Finally, Billy Abbott has key news for Jack. Billy spied on Kane and has some intel to share. But did Kane leave a misdirected trail of breadcrumbs for Billy? Definitely maybe. During the week of September Worsfief, Jack gets busy working out the intel. He wants to protect Jabot and his family's legacy. Meanwhile, Sharon Newman continues to worry about Mariah Copeland and Tessa Porter's marriage. She senses a growing bond between Daniel Romalotti and Tessa, one that Mariah may witness in person. Tell us why in our fans. Do you want to see Daniel and Tessa together? Or is this a total mismatch? The week of September 8-12 sees Lauren Fenmore Baldwin have to deliver on a promise of 3 bridal gowns for Christine Blair. Can Cricket choose just one? Christine marries her dream man in October, rock star Danny Romalotti. Daniel is helping out by keeping Phyllis away from the ceremony, but we predict that will backfire spectacularly. Speaking of Phyllis, she and Amanda butt heads over their boss, Kane. Kane asked Phyllis to become an AI expert, and he wants to use her knowledge to rock GC to its core. Will Amanda play spoiler? The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that the next 3 weeks bring the kind of drama you don't want to miss. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with The Young and the Restless right now. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Nate Hastings may have second thoughts about questioning Audra Charles about her issue with Kyle Abbott. Will Nate find out that Kyle was just as into the plan and didn't tell the truth about his part in the whole Vibrate story? Nate just wanted Audra to admit the truth. Audra agreed to work with Victor to break up Claire Newman and Kyle. If Audra kept up her end of the bargain, Victor would back her company. Nate knows that Claire has no reason to lie to him. However, Audra is trying to make it look different. Audra would rather dump Nate than to admit to what she has done again. Audra is not about to admit to all of Victor's dirty work that she has carried out. However, Nate will second-guess himself and may decide to try to make up with Audra. Nate may chalk it up to being worried about Amy Lewis, and how she's coping with Damian Kane's death. Nate is certainly going to miss Audra now that she has broken things off. However, Nate is also hurting over Audra and his brother. Can Nathan cope without having Audra by his side? Audra has been heroic helping with Amy and in dealing with his complicated issues when it come to finding his brother. However, Audra is still lying to Nate about everything that has been going on between her and Victor. When will Audra man up and be honest with Nate? Doesn't Nate deserve the truth about this collaboration? Could Nathan learn the truth from someone else? Will Nate forgive her for making him look like a chump? Audra may manage to smooth things over with Nate and even get him back in her bed. However, that doesn't she will accept his constant questions. Can Audra and Nate fix their relationship, or is Nate fed up after another round over lies and manipulations? What will be the next screw-up that outs Audra again? Nikki Newman may just enlighten Nate on everything that she saw. Diane Jenkins could do the same. After all, Diane called this even before she knew the truth. Will Nate finally see that Audra has been lying to him all along after everything that has gone down between them? It might have to do with the chaos and drama that Claire has been dealing with lately. For the Thursday, August 28th. Episode of The Young and the Restless. Spoiler photos focus on the Newman women gathering at Crimson Lights. Nikki and Victoria sit down for coffee at Crimson Lights. According to teasers, Victoria is worried about Claire's future. After all, Claire recently lost her father. And even though Victor finally changed his mind and decided to give Kyle and Claire his stamp of approval, Claire's relationship rests on a shaky foundation. Plus, Victoria knows that Claire ratted out Audra's misdeeds with Kyle to Nate. Is Victoria right to worry? Claire joins her mother and grandmother at Crimson Lights. She doesn't make herself comfortable, however, so maybe this is just a drive-by conversation where Nikki and Victoria check in with Claire and see how she's doing with everything that is going on. Claire still has concerns about Kyle. She's unclear about what really happened in Nice between Audra and her boyfriend. Maybe Nikki and Victoria can give her some advice on how to handle things because she needs to have an important chat with her boyfriend. Nick warned Phyllis about working with Kane. But maybe it's Kane who should be worried. Kane initially planned to go after all the big companies in Genoa City. However, he had a change of heart. He wants to listen to his late father's wishes and become the man he was meant to be. But now that he's pulled out of his deal with Phyllis, he could have unleashed a beast on the young and the restless. On the Wednesday, August 27th episode of B&B, Kane stopped by Billy's place to share the news. Billy learned that Kane wanted to get rid of him. Kane assured Billy that Phyllis only wanted that. Then, he told Billy that he's not moving forward with his plans. But now, Billy wants to know how Kane intended to take over Chancellor. Of course, Kane is not going to share his secrets too easily. Billy wanted to know how Phyllis took the news of him backing out of the deal. Kane said that she has no other choice but to accept it. But Billy doesn't think that Phyllis will take this news lying down. In fact, Kane doesn't realize what he unleashed. Meanwhile, Nick wanted to know what Phyllis was up to. He could tell that she sounded upset when she was on the phone. He warned her about getting mixed up with Kane, especially with all that went down in Nice. He also noticed that Phyllis was talking about her plan with Kane in the past tense. Does this mean that Kane forfeited? Nick informed Phyllis that he overheard her voicemail to Kane. He asked her what Kane offered her and why she was upset about losing. Phyllis maintained that they're partners and could be kindred spirits. Nick is worried about Phyllis, but maybe Kane is the one who should be worried. Billy is right. Phyllis isn't going to let this go. Kane might regret getting involved with someone like Phyllis. Who knows what she could pull when she gets desperate? The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Wednesday, August 27th, imply some major moments in the land of Genoa City. Someone makes a confession, while another reflects on a past relationship, and a character does a little damage control. Find out what's set to go down during Wednesday's show. Below, The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Wednesday, August 27th, hint that Nate Hastings will confess something to Devon Hamilton Winters. Is this about his breakup with Audra Charles? Nate might be feeling bad for being so harsh on Audra, without any proof. Still, Nate might also admit that despite her imperfections, he's still in love with the brunette. As Devon can't stand Audra, he may encourage his cousin to move past these feelings. However, Will Nate be able to do that? Across town, another member of the Winters family will reflect. It sounds like Lily Winters will be reminded about her love story with Kane Ashby. There's a good chance that the CBS soap will recreate memories of the past between Lily and new Kane, as the OG Kane was played by Daniel Goddard. What kind of flashbacks will unfold? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Speaking of Kane, The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Wednesday, reveal that Nick Newman will do a little damage control where Phyllis Summers is concerned. Will he spill the beans about the plan he and Victor Newman have? Or will he try and help Phyllis during a meltdown? During the Tuesday, August 26th episode, Kane decided to call off his plans and was vague about it, so Phyllis could spiral at the thought that she no longer has a job. Again, what are you most excited about seeing during Wednesday's show? Comment below. Watch your favorite CBS soap daily and check out SOS often for the best Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Kane Ashby may double-cross Victor Newman. Will Kane help Jack Abbott and Jabot strike back against Newman Enterprises in the end? Y&R fans know Victor is now blackmailing Kane, who obviously doesn't appreciate being backed into this corner. However, Amanda Sinclair is set to return before the week of August 25-29 is over, so her comeback could be a game-changer depending on what she's able to pull off. Kane may task Amanda with getting him out of this jam, whether that means disproving Victor's claims about Colin Atkinson's final swindle, or perhaps digging up dirt to force a blackmail stalemate. Whatever the case, Kane's latest epiphany could play a role in what comes next as well. In the August 26th episode, Kane flashed back to Colin pushing him to bury Aristotle Dumas once and for all, which led to Kane calling off all his takeover plans in Genoa City. Of course, it's possible that Kane will change his mind, especially with Phyllis Summers whispering in his ear and being the devil on his shoulder. That said, it's also possible this will mark a turning point for Kane. Perhaps Kane's plans could truly change and lead to him fighting for good, since that's the kind of thing Lily Winters would approve of. Victor is resorting to extortion to control Kane and force him to team up against Jabot. Maybe there's a way for Kane to turn things around and become a true ally for the Abbotts instead. Kane will give Billy Abbott updates on a scheme soon, so Billy will share the news with Jack as well. Could this involve the first rumblings of Kane's plan to double-cross Victor and sink any Newman plot against Jabot? There must be a reason why Adam Newman is so worried about this insincere alliance with Kane and all the ways it could go wrong. The fact that Adam thinks it's going to backfire probably means that's exactly what's going to happen. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor may be surprised by some of Kane's upcoming moves, so stay tuned. In the August 27th episode of The Young and the Restless, Nate confirmed his breakup with Audra, telling Devin and Lily that Claire's accusations about her deal with Victor finally sank in. His choice marked a major step back toward his family's trust, but it also set the stage for Audra, wounded and cornered, to lash out in ways that could have lasting consequences. At Society, Nate told his cousins that his relationship with Audra was over. He acknowledged that Claire's claims about Audra's scheming lined up with the troubling signs he'd ignored for too long. Even Audra's kiss with Kyle proved impossible to explain away. Nate confessed that he had wanted Lily and Devin's approval so badly that he overlooked every red flag. But the evidence was now undeniable. For Devin and Lily, Nate's confession reinforced what they had suspected all along. Audra's ambition and ruthlessness could never be contained. They offered him validation and support, glad to see him finally recognize what they had warned him about. But their relief came against a backdrop of grief. Nate is still reeling from Damien's death and struggling to be a source of comfort for Amy. His cousin's embrace may steady him for now, but his emotional footing remains shaky. While Nate may feel some closure, Audra's reaction is the real wild card. She's already framed herself as misunderstood and unfairly judged. But this latest rejection threatens the power and status she's fought for. A desperate Audra has proven dangerous before, and losing Nate could drive her to even more reckless choices, whether in business, romance, or revenge. On Y&R's August 27th episode, Nate's clean break came at a steep cost, leaving him vulnerable in grief and Audra more volatile than ever.